unless you can go prove it. And it hasn't been proved so forth by the other water agencies. So there's a lot of things that are brewing here that you better be looking at. But you need the emergency water now. So you need to turn around and think that way and move forward. I didn't come down just to complain at you, but I want to have you guys have that water manual. And if you aren't going to do it, I'll be glad to do it for you. I'll send them to you, because if you read it, you'll see the history. You'll understand more what's happening, what's going on, and things can be done. And you need to do it right now. And it's not to turn around and create more growth. It's just to turn around and finally have Mendocino County have its own water. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. One of the remarks that we heard this evening was that someone had stated there were no other opportunities for storage for inland Mendocino County for water. Could you address that?
Oh, there's numerous places you can store water inside of Mendocino County, up and down the reach. It's just everybody has to get together and decide they want to do it, and how far you want to go to make things happen. There's several sites that are 9, 10,000, 20,000 acre feet. There's areas up in the upper reach of Potter Valley that could be turned around and be used in harmony with making a deal with the tribe as well, up there to where you could get a water source that comes through the PG&E penstocks. There's so many things you can go do here, and these studies have been done. We've done countless estimates and costs using means and other ways, and talking to Mr. Rao, turn around and help, continually. Rao Engineering, I got to tell you, George has been such a vast knowledge and so much help to try and get water for this county, and he does this continually. Every time I come to him and I say, we have this or that, what do you think? How would you need to do this? What needs to be done? They're there. That's what I just went through. Everybody came and saw me, and I just pulled out the archives and I said, why are we doing another study? You really want to be irked, go up to Mill Creek. Go and see what we've done to Mill Creek and see the $385,000 study, which is more like $1 million was pumped up there. And all we got is a mosquito trap and the other pond full, and that's water you could be using right now, and it's the only water that Mendocino County has.
How many square miles of tributary there that aren't claimed by Sonoma County? And
everything in the water reach for summertime flows is a totally appropriated, and it's all the Sonoma County summer flows.
Except for that, 14 square miles?
Oh, I wouldn't be able to pull that number, but it's huge.
The number seems to stick in my mind, that it's about 14 square miles of tributary area that used to be the water source for the state hospital.
Yeah. I mean,
and at the point that Lake Mendocino was envisioned and Sonoma County filed on our valley for the runoff, that belonged to the state. So when the county acquired the state hospital, Mill Creek dams and such, they wound up with that tributary area water right. And as far as I know, that's the only surface water right that remains with this valley, not under the control of somebody somewhere else.
yeah.
And one of the concerns I've had is how do we perfect or protect that locally?
Is that right? Who's
Further questions for the speaker here?
Well, you have an
Oh, well,
answer to that.
yeah, the data and the information is there, is also with the County of Mendocino. You can go back in their archives and you can pull all this data out. And Redwood Valley did a very good job on looking for water. Redwood Valley shared all that information with the county and with other agencies. And so did Hoppen and what they look for water. All of them shared with the city as well, and we talked about all numerous projects that can be done. And we also knew what the costs were going to be if you turn around and tried to do things which were an off-stream storage, such as the project above Mendocino College. We looked at all of that area, and we took the most cost-effective and the most feasible way to go do something. All that material is there, it's laid out, it's accessible. You can go do it. Even the study in that study that they did, we took water flows and went through the whole year with them, so we know what the water production was, and we also had an engineering hydrology firm actually do a study and say how much water was accessible and usable out of Mill Creek. All of this was turned down. I was with the county when the county turned around. We were at a meeting with the county, and over the storage, the extra storage you're talking about in the flood pool, I was there when the county turned around and he said to the board that there was no use for that flood pool. for the county. I was totally shocked. I couldn't say anything because I'm a consultant. I work for my bosses. My bosses didn't want us to say anything. But when he said that, I was just, that was it. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. I couldn't understand that, and that's why I'm saying something about it today. We have, from the very get-go, said there's things you can go and do. And one of them was that simple thing to turn around and have Sonoma County go into that flood pool and cap that water in there every year. And it could have been done the whole time, and it was only done one time previously before.
So you're saying the dam is perfectly safe to start pooling water, saving water before April 15th because the dam is so secure and safe?
At that time, or at this time, or at that level, it was, and I assume it still is. But they're still doing a study, and you have to remember, they're doing a study on the safety of the dam now, and if something tweaks up in between this and that, it may not be. And then if it isn't, you may be in for surprise, because they may have to drain the dam even lower than what it is now. It may have to stay down below a lower level. So you're gonna need to look for other quick alternate sources where you can store water, and there are alternate sources, and we look at for wheeling the water without having to do a major water line along the tracks or anything along that direction. We actually thought about dumping the water back into the Russian River and exchanging that with Sonoma County for the upper reach, so they could use that. And we talked about all the stuff on wheeling water. It's all there, guys.
That concept fell apart because the city didn't participate?
That was, that particular project that you're talking about, we needed somebody, and the agencies got together, and we were hoping that the city would spearhead that. You guys are the most powerful organization because of population, because of use of water. You are the top user, so you carry the most weight. And if you would have came together and been the lead, and that's what the hope was, then you would have an organization that would have spoke and moved on forward, and that was the total plan. And at no time, and some things were brought up before that we hadn't gone and looked, and my group had turned around and misrepresented itself, did we? We were going on from what our agencies wanted us to do, and they told us what they had done, and we can only do what our generals say.
Further questions for the Mr. Mayfield, who's speaking as a member of the public?
I was just going to answer or respond to what Mr. Mayfield, if the council's interested, of what it would take in order to get more water out of the Eel River through the diversion tunnel.
Well, let's let him finish his comments, and then we can call on staff to comment.
My comments are all over. With the pulling the water out of the Eel River, there's all kinds of things you can do in an emergency. I used to work for the Office of Emergency Services, State of California, work for emergency response is one division. I was within the Public Assistance Division. I worked with them on other projects as well. We literally pumped water from Steamboat Springs all the way over in the Yucca Valley, which was up over 3,500 lineal feet. And they came in there and had done that. And I've also worked with FERC before as well and got things through with FERC. There's a lot of things you can do in a crisis. If you turn around and you can plan and you can do it.
Thank
And
you
I'll
very
leave my
much.
comment.
Further comment from the public? Does our representative on the Board of Supervisors care to comment on this issue of continuing involvement in the feasibility study? Evidently not. City Attorney?
Well, I was just going to tell you that the diversion tunnel was constructed by PG&E to do one thing, and that was to generate power. And so the difference in elevation, they drop water from the Eel River down through a diversion tunnel to create electricity. And that water dumps into the Russian River and gets stored behind Coyote Valley Dam. Whoever controls the diversion tunnel really controls how much water passes through the diversion tunnel. And that's really controlled by a license that's issued by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. So if you want to get, if you're trying to get more water taken from the Eel River, put through the diversion tunnel and put into the Russian River that'll flow behind Coyote Valley Dam, what the city would have to do is petition FERC. They'd have to file a petition with FERC for a modification of the licensing conditions. Now, I know of all the parties that are presently parties to that licensing proceeding, all of them are downstream users except for one. That's the Covelo Indian community. So if you went to the Covelo Indian community and worked out an agreement with them where they wouldn't oppose your petition, I don't see why FERC wouldn't approve a petition that was filed on behalf of the city and